Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Astrology News Report, an alternate view of world events as seen through the lens of Vedic astrology, presented by yours truly, Ron Berger. Today is April 26, 2015. So let's take a look at the week that was, and how the planets' positions in the zodiac matched up with the past week's events. The main celestial combination last week was the conjunction of Mars and Mercury in Aries, which manifested in a number of ways. Mars is the planet of violence and action. Mercury is the planet of communications, and therefore the media. Last week, while the two planets were conjunct, there were plenty of media reports of violence. A big volcano blew in southern Chile, sending thousands of tons of ash into the sky in a spectacular display of the violence of nature. And then on Saturday, a devastating earthquake struck Nepal, causing widespread damage in the tiny nation and killing over 2,000 people, destroying many historic structures. The quake caused an avalanche that struck the Mount Everest base camp, where at least 17 people lost their lives. More news of violence came from the United States government, which announced that a drone strike last January on an al-Qaeda compound on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border had mistakenly killed 2 hostages, one an American, the other an Italian. And of course there was all of the ongoing news of violence committed by police in various places in the United States, which resulted in the deaths of Afro-Americans at the hands of white police officers. The latest of these is the death of Freddie Gray, who died while in police custody in Baltimore. Protests against the police department in that city climaxed on Saturday with thousands in the streets. Speaking of law enforcement, the United States got a new Attorney General last week, Loretta Lynch, who, after months of delay, finally got confirmed by the Senate. She promises to strike a new tone for the Justice Department. Looking over at the Vedic astrology chart for the United States, we see that there is something interesting here. Uranus, the planet of unexpected change, is directly opposite the United States chart's natal Saturn. Saturn, as the planet of control, represents enforcement. So, this could turn out to be a real shift for order and control in the USA. Maybe this is good news. Mercury is also the planet of consensus. Combining with Mars, the planet of combat, doesn't produce much consensus. Democrats have taken the gloves off in their own trade war. In Washington and on the campaign trail, the public sniping over whether Congress should give the White House power to clinch the biggest free trade deal in history, called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, has reached new heights. Democrat Senator and champion of the people, Elizabeth Warren, has gone head-to-head with the Obama administration, accusing the president of deliberately hiding unpopular details of the deal from the public. Mercury is the planet of words. Mars is the planet of controversy and anger. April 24th marked the 100th anniversary of 1 million Armenians massacred at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, an event in history called genocide by the Armenians and by some others. But the G word is assiduously avoided by Turkey and its allies, including the U.S. government. This manifests a lot of anger, which was apparent in demonstrations such as a big one in Los Angeles, where over 500,000 Armenians currently live. Ketu, the signifier of the unseen world, includes viruses and bacteria. and Ketu has been together with Uranus, signifier of the unusual, in the sign Pisces, which is the fourth house of the U.S. chart. The fourth house of a country's chart is the lands of the country, including agriculture. Last week, Minnesota declared a state of emergency over a fast-spreading strain of avian flu that has led now to the extermination of more than 7.3 million chickens and turkeys. And that's not all. Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream has joined Bluebell Creameries in shutting down production of their desserts due to listeria, a potentially deadly bacteria being found in some samples of its frozen treats. Well, that'll do it for this week's Review of the Week. You can keep up with daily astrological developments and contribute your own thoughts by following me on Twitter at Astro News Report.